Good afternoon. This is Greg Machos reporting for Hurricaneville, June 22nd, 2012. This is the Hurricaneville Video Report. And we're off to a pretty fast start here in the tropical Atlantic for this time of year. We've already had 3 named storms, 2 of them forming before the official start of the season back on June 1st, and we've just gotten our first hurricane of the season in Chris. Now, Chris has since weakened to a post-tropical low. As a matter of fact, the National Hurricane Center has issued its final advisory on it as of 11 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time this morning. It was located about 335 miles east-southeast of Cape Race, Newfoundland. Maximum sustained winds are 45 miles an hour. The present motion is west-southwest at 16 miles an hour, and the current pressure, the lowest pressure in the circulation, was at 990 millibars, which approximates to 29.23 inches. I had a satellite image of this. Oh, no, that's not the one we're looking for. This was Chris yesterday when it became the first hurricane of the 2012 Atlantic season. Again, it's well off of the east coast of the United States. As you can see, this looks like maybe the Canadian Maritimes right there. But anyway, this storm is well out to sea in the North Atlantic. It is no threat to land, even if it were to develop again. But it is meandering out there, moving in a west-southwesterly direction. Like I said, we've had 3 named storms this year, and I'm kind of moving around a little bit, so bear with me here. Looking at the past advisors, we had Alberto, which formed on May 19th, which is a little less than 2 weeks before the official start of the season. That was a very weak storm. Didn't really do much, but then we had Beryl, which was a more significant storm. If you recall, that storm came ashore along the northeast Florida coast near Jacksonville, and brought about 65 mile per hour winds, but also brought a good deal of rain. Some parts of the southeast got up to about 6 inches of rain, and that was much needed rain for those areas. And now we've just had Chris, and like I said, Chris was a hurricane, a minimal one. I think, let's see here, let's see what the how strong it was. Here it is. This was the 11 a.m. advisory from Thursday. Maximum sustained winds were 75 miles per hour, so it was a minimal hurricane, and the pressure was estimated at 29.15 inches or 987 millibars. Now, the big story that is beginning to take shape in the tropics is our disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico. We have a broad area of low pressure currently circulating in the Gulf of Mexico, and you can see that graphically here with an image that we got from a station, a news station down in, I believe, Texas. There it shows you the winds at various places along the Gulf Coast and the Yucatan Peninsula, as well as some areas in the Caribbean, and you can see that we do have a very broad circulation here. You can see that we have winds coming out of the northeast at Mobile. We have winds coming out of the northwest at Brownsville. We have winds coming out of the northwest at let me see, a buoy here in the Gulf of Mexico near the Bay of Campeche region. Merida on the Yucatan's western coast is reporting a northwest wind. Meanwhile, the Cayman Islands, there's a southeasterly wind. Cancun has a southerly wind. Havana has a southerly wind. Miami and St. Petersburg have southeasterly winds. So you can basically see we do have a counterclockwise circulation developing here in the Gulf of Mexico. It is very unorganized, and if I could take a look at the satellite imagery what we had of this storm courtesy of the WSI Corporation or Intellicast, this shows you the flare-up of thunderstorms associated with this disturbance. And again, like I said, we had a broad circulation in here, and you can see there's no cloud cover in here. Hurricanes, in order for them to organize and develop, you need to have this type of activity that you see here, this flare-up of thunderstorms, to kind of coalesce and be more cohesive around the center of circulation. And that's not happening yet. It's very disorganized. We also have a flare-up of thunderstorms here in the western Atlantic to the north of Haiti, but that is not associated with our low in the Gulf. However, let's keep this in mind. This area is in a very favorable section for development. This time of year, particularly the western Caribbean and the northwestern Caribbean and even the Gulf, relative to, say, the southeastern coast of the United States, the eastern Caribbean, and the Atlantic, this area is more prone for development because we have more favorable upper level wind conditions in the Gulf and western Caribbean, and the water temperatures are very favorable this time of year as well. So we do have the ingredients starting to come together for a possible tropical cyclone forming this weekend into early next week. Now, let's take a look at this. This is actually from Weather Underground, and this gives you the models and where they're going to take the storm. This is actually the center of the low where they have it pinpointed in the Gulf, just to the north of the Yucatan Peninsula right now. And actually, this was as of Friday morning. You can see the different models. They're all color-coded. The GFDL is probably the most advanced of these models. Some of these other models are not as sophisticated. We have the GFS, we have the BAM, we have the LBAR, we have the NAM. Let's see, the GFS, at least if I can understand this, the GFS appears to have this storm heading northward and then curving out to the east-northeast or northeast and going into the western coast of Florida, crossing the Florida Peninsula near, say, Orlando, and then re-emerging in the Atlantic. The NAM has this storm basically heading in a more westerly direction generally, while the LBAR has this storm going more to the left of the GFS. And let's see here, looking, and we can see the GFDL has just started to put some numbers together. The BAM is also taking a more southerly course, a course to the right of both the GFS and the L-bar. Now, let's see here. If we have water vapor imagery, this is the water vapor imagery courtesy of NOAA, and it shows you again the flare-up of storm activity here in the northwestern Caribbean heading into the southern Gulf of Mexico. We also have a circulation here. Again, now it's associated with the flare-up of storms to the north of Haiti. Probably it looks to be a upper level low, and the storms are kind of feeding off of that. But that is not in association with this low at this time. Now, if we look at the satellite, we can see that there is our front that is pushing into the eastern portion of the United States. And if you heard the Greg's Weather Center video report from earlier today, you will have noticed a mention of a cold front passing through the New Jersey area this afternoon to break what has been a 3-day heat wave here in not only New Jersey but throughout much of the eastern United States. Temperatures have been in the mid to upper 90s for the past several days, and we have a cold front that has brought some cooler and drier air into the eastern portion of the Great Lakes, into western portions of Pennsylvania and New York, and that is supposed to create an atmosphere for thunderstorms this afternoon. Anyway, with the front, in terms of the front impacting the developing low in the Gulf of Mexico, the front is expected to bypass the low in the Gulf, and that's going to allow the Gulf to continue to hang out or fester in that region for the next several days into early next week. Now we have another water vapor imagery or water vapor loop. This one shows clearly the cold front that is moving into the eastern United States and has our low developing in the Gulf, and as you can see, the front is going to bypass the low. Here is a visible satellite of the Gulf of Mexico and western Atlantic. And as you can see, it shows the flare-up of storms to the north of Haiti, as well as our low here, a broad low in the Gulf. And we also have a infrared image of the same area. So we are going to be keeping an eye on the Gulf of Mexico for the next few days. Interests anywhere from southern Texas, say Brownsville, all the way eastward to the Gulf Coast of Florida should pay close attention to the developments associated with this broad low. The National Hurricane Center has indicated that there is a strong likelihood that this will develop. As a matter of fact, they're giving it a high chance of 70% of becoming a tropical cyclone during the next 48 hours. If it does become a tropical depression, or better yet, a tropical storm, it will be the fourth depression of the Atlantic hurricane season. If it does become a storm, it will be named Debby. So it's been a very busy start to the hurricane season, a season that many had forecasted to be about average or even below average by recent standards. But so far, the numbers in the early going have defied the early season expectations. So we'll be continuing to keep an eye on what could be Tropical Storm Debby in the coming days, and we'll be back with another report at a later time. For now, this is Greg Machos of Hurricaneville.com. Good afternoon.